Everyone, I'm Joel Baird, the General Manager of Missoula Community Access Television, inviting you to this mid-September, much cooler, much nicer edition of Missoula Live.
What was it? Was it smoky 2 weeks ago? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Kim Anderson, and I'm on the board of MCAT, and I'm also the Director of Programs and Grants for Humanities Montana.
Excellent. I have just a few things to tell you about MCAT. One thing is you might have a child at home between the ages of 9 and 13 who would like to come to our Saturday animation drop-in. And that can happen beginning October the 14th, 1 week after the homecoming parade. We'll be occupied that Saturday, October 7th, doing the homecoming parade. And that's pretty much all I have.
That's it?
Yeah.
We have a board meeting tonight, if you're watching this live.
Right. If you're watching the replay.
No, tomorrow night.
We should mention to people that the MCAP board is open to the public.
That's right.
And meets on the fourth Tuesday of every month at 7 p.m. right here in this beautiful studio.
That's right. I don't have much for Humanities Montana news. We had our board meeting up in Browning last weekend. Humanities Montana has a statewide board. Some of our board members are self-nominated and some are appointed by the governor. And we gave away some money to some great projects, including some very exciting documentary films.
No kidding.
Yeah, some of them made right here in Missoula. So we were
Excellent.
very excited about that. A documentary film about the issue of Native Americans, children being adopted, that happened in the middle of last century.
Yeah.
A lot of those children were taken from their families and adopted, called Kendra. I think you know some of the players involved.
Oh,
in
I
that.
bet. Yeah.
And another film on refugees in Missoula that's done with the Soft Landing folks called the New Neighbors Project.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah, and the idea there was really cool. It was to give these new immigrants to our country the skills to tell their own stories using cameras and stuff. And I was able to encourage them to come to MCAT as well when they need equipment.
Oh, that's great.
So you might be seeing them.
Oh, that would be really nice. Well, good for you guys. And you did mention there's no big grant cycle coming up. Is there something in October, grant-wise?
No, although I would encourage everybody to remember to attend the Montana Book Fest, which is this coming
that's a great idea.
weekend. I think it's September 26th, 7th, starting on Wednesday, going all through the weekend, ending on the 30th. And I won't be here.
Oh, that's right.
For the first time ever. So everyone else has to go for me. So
That's right.
Just go because I can't go.
And you can find it, if you Google the Montana Book Festival, there'll be a ton of things. We had, who was it that was here 2 weeks ago telling us all about it? Carla. And it was so large, we would say the same thing. Go on the website because there's something for everyone. And it's huge.
Right.
Oh, and then before we introduce our guests, I was going to ask Neil if he could bring the sound down in the control room TV. Just because it's echoing out here, right?
Yeah, there we go.
That's better.
Thanks. You, Neil.
Typically, we have that door closed, too.
Right.
Well, I think it's time to introduce Angie.
Yeah.
Angie Weisenberger is representing University of Montana's Office of Alumni Relations and Alumni Association.
Correct.
Okay, welcome and thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
You know it. So every year we get at MCAT kind of excited about the homecoming parade. This year will be something like the 17th year that we've recorded the parade.
Oh my gosh.
And in the last 15 years, we've endeavored to record the parade and send it out live. And we've done it in so many strange ways, running wires down the street and all kinds of to-doing. One time we rented a van in the parking lot where the Jimmy John's is now, 2 blocks down, because we were always put up against trying to get the beginning of the parade, which had started beyond us, you see,
Right.
because we're way up on the north end of Higgins.
Can't we just use drones now?
Well, so technology has come to the rescue the last 2 or 3 years, and we have been able to use the internet as a way of sending the signal.
Oh, yeah.
So for the last 2 or 3 years, MCAT has set up its switching and camera business right across from the review stand. We're in front of the old J.C. Penney building, and the review stand is at that Grizz T-shirt and other
the M
hoodie
store?
and hat shop
Yep,
right across
from
the street.
yeah.
So we could catch, what the reviewing people have to say.
Right.
But there's an enormous amount of fun activities for the whole homecoming week, right?
Yep, the whole week kicks
And-
off on October 8th, so we will be out at Southgate Mall.
Right. And that's on the Sunday.
That's on Sunday.
Yeah.
It's at 1 o'clock in the clock court. We have the marching band that comes down, actually just the drum line. They come march down from JCPenney all the way down to the clock court.
Oh, that
And-
must sound amazing.
It does.
right
It's
there.
really
Yeah,
cool.
It must be incredible.
And then we've got the UM Spirit Squad, the cheer and dance teams, and it's just an hour's worth of a lot of fun. We have some giveaways. We work with Mountain FM, one of our sponsors, and give out some great prizes of the day of. And then there's also a ultimate tailgate giveaway that you can enter at the mall all week, and then they'll draw, I think they draw on Thursday for a tailgate spot, and I think 8 tickets to the football game, and so get your entry in.
Lots of to-doing.
Yeah.
And you gave me a number of things.
That's our newsletter.
Yeah. And
Should
it
be
has
hitting
the beautiful
mailboxes.
graphic.
Yeah.
I don't know, Neil, if you could zoom in. I'm giving you too much work. If you want to zoom in on that. There's one on the, but he's already set up the computer to show the parade. I think this Reflections, is that the theme?
That's our theme
of
this year,
homecoming?
Reflections.
Oh, that's brilliant.
It's honoring the past and shaping the future. We
Yeah.
know that we're heading into our 125th birthday next year, and the university's looking at lots of,
It's an
lots
exciting
of,
time.
yeah,
Lots of
it's,
change.
lots of stuff is happening on campus these
Yeah.
days, so.
That's right. I mean, for instance, we were just talking about how the university is searching for a new president and how MCAT has been streaming live the presentations by the 4 finalists that have been going on this week. I like the looking backward part. That's the nostalgic person in me,
Yeah,
that.
we have to honor the past. I mean,
Yeah.
we have so much that we've built on over the years, and
Oh,
we need
yeah.
to keep that in mind as we move into the future of the university.
Right.
I think it's so true. And I mean, university relations I'm in the same building as alumni relations, and there's so much history in Brantley Hall.
Yeah.
It's hard not to be in that space and walk in through the president's room every day and see all the portraits of presidents past.
And when we welcome our reunion participants back and they say, "Oh, my room used to be right there."
Right,
and,
it was an
it's
old
just a
door.
great, yeah.
I
Yeah.
get that feeling, because sometimes Kim, as the treasurer of MCAT, will sign checks. So I'll drive up to
Drive up there.
university and take the stairs up. And I had friends when I was a student at U of M who were dormed in Brantley.
Really? It was still a dorm then?
Yes.
It
Well, it was
wasn't-
1983.
Yeah,
Oh my
it was actually
gosh.
pretty recent,
Wow,
recent, I
had
guess.
no idea. I had
Yeah.
no idea.
My friend Lisa Buttry and her parents, were of the Buttry food store chain, talk about days gone by. She managed to knock a tooth out in Brantley Hall. She was so full of life. She was going down the stairs, and that overhead is very close. And she jumped up like a sprightly goat and knocked her front tooth out.
Oh, no.
And then I made her a lithograph portrait of her with the tooth missing. Good times, people.
Yeah.
But everyone that is an alum have a kind of memory,
Of
Oh, yeah.
something, yeah.
there's something.
I mean, it's
And this is the
happening-
time you come back and celebrate those memories. I mean,
Yeah.
it really is. We enjoy seeing everybody come back for just a week's worth of activities, from sporting events to the law school's reunion and, our events, which we have a lot of them. Starting on Monday, we do the Hello Walk. I don't know if you've walked along
Yes.
in front of Turner Hall and
Yes.
seeing that painted
with
every
hello in all
hall.
different
Yep.
languages.
That's
and-
so much
I mean,
fun.
this is a huge,
This is quite a bit.
catalog of events.
You
going
can't see
on.
it at home, but
It's all
This-
listed on our website.
right, it's on the website. And when alums look through their mail, I see you got the permit and everything, so you probably are mailing it out, or if you
Yep,
haven't already.
Yep, it went out last week and should be hitting mailboxes.
Yeah, this is the cover, so if you see it at home, don't throw it out.
Do you have
for
a
this.
sense, Angie, of how many alums show up?
It's so hard to say because really everything is open to everybody.
Right, so people are coming
And we
in
don't, there's no way to keep track of anything. I mean, I liken it to, well, on Saturday, we have 25,000 plus in the stadium, so there's at least that many
Yeah.
coming on Saturday. I mean, the parade is the largest in the state.
Oh, yeah.
We have over 100 entries every year.
I didn't know that. That's amazing.
And, there's thousands of people that come out and watch, especially if the weather's good, so hopefully it's not smoky
Yes.
anymore. I was a little worried.
Wow, can you
We're
imagine
probably
had
going to
that
be
been
able to
the
do
case?
fireworks on Friday night at the pep
Oh,
rally with the
yeah.
weather the way it is, so that's good.
Yes, and-
Questionable.
Right.
And there's a lot of stuff that, people can attend casually, like Thursday, October 12th, homecoming buffet dinner in the food zoo.
Yep.
It's $8.80 a person.
Right.
Yep, come have a great dinner. The food zoo's amazing. They've got just a wonderful menu almost every night, and it is open for homecoming for people to come in and.
Gosh, there's a Friday the 13th as part of homecoming week.
Oh.
So,
Yep, the different departments, they, put
Yeah.
their activities out. We're competing with a lot of things. The biggest that we have that night is our Distinguished Alumni Awards ceremony.
Oh, yes, and I can't remember if MCAT's recorded those in the past. We really should.
We have in the past, yeah, we're not this year. We have 5 distinguished alums coming to campus this year. William Finnegan from Creative Writing
I know
and
him, yeah.
Harry Fritz from History.
Oh, everyone knows, well,
Yeah.
not
Everyone
everyone,
knows
but
Harry.
really, he does such great impersonations,
Yeah.
and he's really put his
He
heart
was
into that
Abe
for
Lincoln
years.
for us
Oh,
for
for
many
long,
Oh, really?
years.
Yes.
And he'd go to the legislature and do that there as well.
Okay, so Bill and Harry.
Yeah.
Rama Nimani from Forestry.
Okay.
Bob Syme, Dr. Bob
Yes.
Syme from Microbiology and Public Health, and Scott Wheeler from History Department
Oh,
are
yeah.
distinguished alums this year.
That's terrific.
So a great group of individuals that have gone on to be successful, and we're honoring them with the university's highest award, and we'll have a panel discussion with William Marcus as our moderator, so
Nice.
he leads a panel with them, asking them questions about their lives and how the university has impacted them in their careers. And
And where does that happen?
that happens up in the UC ballroom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it's 5:30 on the 13th.
Yep, and it's open to the public, so please come and check out what the university's done.
Now, there's a competing event called the Mystique of Friday the 13th in Social Science 262. Well, that's wonderful. I guess it should be.
There's
Now-
something for everybody. I think
Right.
there's a volleyball game that night. There's the Distinguished Alumni Award ceremony. There's different Greek organizations have their
Yes,
reunion.
they've got, like, all this stuff over here.
Yeah.
Alumni band comes back and they have a reunion. After the Distinguished Alumni Awards, we go out on the Oval and have the pep rally out there with singing on
Yell
the steps
night.
and, yep, yell
Yes, I
night.
can
Like
hear that
yell
from my
night.
house.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's
It's like
great.
almost one of my favorite parts, mostly because I get to experience it. I would love the parade, but I never get to see any
Because you're
of it.
running around so
What are
much.
you doing? I want to know what's going on back scenes.
We're getting all the parade dignitary cars set up and making sure that everybody's, we've got a trolley that we have all of our board of directors and other bigwigs in town, the DAAs come in and they get to ride on the trolley, so
Yeah.
we're
And
just
they're
putting that
heading the
here.
parade, so
Yeah.
you've got to get them
Yep,
first.
we've got to get them
Right.
in. We have some great community members that donate the use of their vehicles for us, and we're really grateful for that, so.
Yeah, the parade is terrific. I always like to put a plug for a parade because I think sometimes people think it's too square an event for them. At least they did,
Oh, my
back
goodness.
in the day. It's too square, but there's so many interesting floats and things.
It is.
The steel workers float is always amazing. It's like 3 stories
Yeah.
tall with people hanging off of different things.
Well, and it's really interesting to see how they interpret the theme, you know?
Right,
Yes.
exactly.
This year
This
with
one is
reflection.
reflection, so I wonder if we'll see a lot of mirrored, like a
Sometimes,
lot of-
sometimes they take it literally, and sometimes they, kind of go, oh, okay, looking back and
Yeah.
looking forward type of thing. You don't know.
And it's such a wonderful admixture of different businesses trying to be creative and stand out, and then student groups.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd learned that there was a Brazilian club from homecoming 2 years ago. I had no idea, and I'm like,
Right.
what are all these Brazilians doing here? And, so you learn stuff, and then political candidates. I know it's an off election year, but there's some
Well,
seats on council
Yep,
and the mayoral
and the-
race.
yep.
So that always spices it up too.
And we get all the marching bands.
Yeah.
From around the state. That's
I started
cool.
with the fiddle float.
Is that right?
A million years ago when my kids were young.
Yeah.
And so, no, and in fact, I was on the fiddle float.
Oh, my
literally
goodness.
A million years ago.
Yeah, I remember
Sept.
one year it was so cold the brass bands didn't
Oh,
work.
I know.
Because their lips
Their
would
lips
stick
would
to the,
Yeah.
the
I
brass.
don't think, I'll knock on wood on
No,
this, I
it's not
don't
gonna
think we have to
happen.
worry about
I
that
think
this
it's going to
year.
be okay.
I think we're
Yes.
gonna have gorgeous color and really nice weather, even though it's a
No,
little
and-
later.
You know, and I had the date wrong in my mind. I thought it was the 7th. It's the 14th for the
14th,
parade.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We kick off on the 8th, full week,
Yeah.
and then, Friday and the 13th.
Which
and
also
14th.
means too, we gotta think about our Saturday animation drop-in. We thought, we'll wait till the parade's over, but we're not gonna wait that long. So anyway, I'll be making an announcement later.
Right.
What else should people know about this?
Just come down and enjoy what's going on all week. You can go to
Yeah.
our website, grizzlum.org, and see everything that's going on campus. There's something for everybody, whether there's stuff for kids, Spectrum's doing things. I think they're doing a kids parade, homecoming parade on the Oval at one point during the week.
I'll have
I
to
think it's
inquire
ASUM
and see.
daycare or something
Yeah.
is doing something, so
cute.
that ought to be great. There's the Hello Walk for painting for the students, the homecoming dinner, we have the Yell Night pep rally, then we have our event down at Holiday Inn. They're one of our great sponsors
I was
every
gonna
year.
ask, yeah, every
And
year
the
you
all
say.
alumni social down there, that's
Yeah.
great. 9 o'clock in there, in the atrium with the marching band in there is not to
Right.
be missed. If you have not seen it,
It's,
that is a great thing to listen
Yeah.
to. And then Saturday morning, parade, the homecoming hustle, that's a great fundraising opportunity for the track team. All the entries, they go to help support the track team
Right.
and the scholarships for the track
Nice.
team. And then the parade and our tailgate and lots of
And then
other
the game.
tailgates. And then the game.
And then the game.
So, for people that are interested, the homecoming football game, Montana Grizzlies versus North Dakota Fighting Hawks.
Oh,
That's
my
the
dad will be
team.
watching. He's
Is that
gonna
right?
be
Is
at
he-
too, Yeah.
He's a North Dakotan.
Yeah.
No, it's University of North Dakota.
Oh, it's University of
Yes,
North Dakota.
not
Okay,
North-
He'll still be watching
Yeah.
because he's a huge Grizz fan.
We've gotten that a few
What is the
times.
distinction you're making about this?
NDSU
Dakota
is-
State or
Just like
Yeah,
here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
And-
the not as well, I mean, NDSU is the big one, the
Right.
Oh, is that
one that
right?
we beat a few years ago and on
Okay.
the opening game and stuff, so.
I know.
Anyway, and then, Andy, do you get to sleep for a week afterwards?
We do after Monday, our board meets over the weekend, so
Yeah.
we have some duties.
You combine all of that with a board meeting?
Yes.
You're insane.
Yeah, that is a little.
And then we kind of go into hibernation for a little bit,
Yes,
but,
good. You're well deserved.
Could you mention the website? I know Neil is going to
Yes.
show some of the homecoming parade, so he didn't set up to show the website, but I mean, I guess he can. I see him, he's looking at the computer.
Right.
But can you mention
we
to
go.
people if they, yeah. And that has the beautiful new logo.
Yes.
So do they just
so it's
Google
go
this?
to-
Is it
They can
hard
go to
get there?
www.grizzalum.org, and that's our
Okay.
homepage there, and right in the center, reflections.
Grizzalum.org, that's not hard.
Nope,
Yeah.
yep, we're a nonprofit. I'm not sure people really realize that,
Yeah.
but
Mm-hmm.
our organization is not state-funded. We subsist solely on
You're a
our
separate
membership. Yep,
organization.
we're
This is
separate.
not like an official
Exactly.
university department.
Right.
And
gotcha.
right in the center there says Reflections. It's not that same blue
Yeah.
logo, but that has a list right to the calendar of events that we keep updated. Things come in all the time, so
Yeah.
it's probably different than what's in the newsletter right now.
Okay.
Just from different things that have happened and people have let us know about, but we
Yeah.
keep that posted. And the homecoming parade applications. Friday was the early bird registration. But this Friday is
there's
the-
still time?
There's still time, but this
Wow.
Friday, you need to get them in. We need to get those
So don't
parade
dally
applications.
anymore.
Yeah, and it's really fun. And
It
with
is
the
fun being
reflections
in the
theme.
parade.
Yep.
I was just wondering if we, MCAT, could do both things. It would be kind of
It's
fun.
really hard to film
You-
it and be.
And be in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We found that out, It'd be
Right.
nice, but
It might
no.
be, we'll see. If there's some board members that would like to sit in a convertible, I'll rent the convertible.
Well, there you go.
I'm always up for sitting in a
Yeah?
convertible.
All right. We'll talk later.
Yeah, so you can go online and apply, or you can come in to our office and we have a paper form if you
Okay.
need
Great.
to pay by check or something. So,
Sure.
Good.
Angie, thank you so much for
Yeah,
putting it
thanks for
on yet
having us.
another year.
Oh, it'll be another great year.
We're
Yeah.
excited. Homecoming is my favorite time of year.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, thanks for all the good work.
Yes. And we'll be right back. Betsy Mulligan-Daig is in the bullpen. She's warming up to talk about Jeanette Rankin Peace Center.
Yeah.
And they are having a party coming up. So Neil's going to show you some of MCAT's coverage of last year's homecoming parade.
Just to get you in the mood.
Right. And then we'll come back with Betsy. So right after this. And we are back. We are back with Betsy Mulligan-Daig. Thank you so much for coming to talk about Jeanette Rankin Peace Center.
Thanks.
You've been doing it a goodly while now, haven't you?
Well, over 12 years.
Is it? Gosh.
It goes so fast.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird that way. I almost feel like, that it's not going to go so fast soon. That everything is the same in your middle age, and then I'm about to enter.
I think it
Older
goes
age.
faster in older age.
Really?
How long have you been with
Depends when
MCAT?
you're looking forward.
27 years.
27 years?
Since
Okay.
1989. So that's 28.
You you should know then how time flies.
Yeah, I guess I
Right.
do. And then it's simple math, right? They say when you are 50, 1 year of your life is just a little sliver. It's 1/50th. You see, when you're
Right.
10, that's 1/10.
Right,
So
that's true.
in your youth, the appreciation of time passing is different.
So Jeanette Rankin has, speaking of time passing,
Yes.
an annual event that's
Yes.
coming up.
More to the point, dagnabbit.
We could talk about philosophy, but
That's
The
right,
philosophy
the
of
essence of
time and
time,
its
yes.
elasticity.
So much more timely.
That's right.
Peace is more timely.
yes.
Please,
So
carry on.
This is what we do every year. We celebrate with the Peace Party. It celebrates our community, and it also raises the funds we need then to operate on
Right.
with our programs through the year. So it's a great event held by us and attended by most of the community that we know. It's one of the iconic events, I think, in Missoula.
It is. Now, Betsy, before you get into the details of the Peace Party, just in case there's anyone out there who doesn't know what the Jeanette Rankin Peace Center is, can you tell us what it is?
I can.
And that.
Well, we are an organization that looks at educating people about nonviolence, social justice, and taking care of the planet, which is how we...
Neil is saying that your
define
mic for some reason isn't working.
Oh, no!
That's all right.
my.
We can
Crisis.
fix it in post, but let's take a look now.
It's,
I'll look at it for
that
you.
on.
Yeah, it's definitely on. You two talk,
You know what?
and then I'll go and see.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'll go back there
Okay.
and see what's going on, and then you guys just talk away.
We'll see you later, Joel.
I'll be back.
Okay, so start again with Jeanette Rankin Peace Center.
Well, we try to educate people about what is peace, and we define that with three things, really. Nonviolence, the way that we act ourselves. Social justice, which is the way we treat other people. And environmental sustainability, the way that we take care of the planet. So we provide some opportunities to educate people and also to engage in some actions and events around those things. So, you know, one of the things that is very important is that none of us are in this alone. It takes all of us kind of working together. So there's lots of different organizations working in Missoula, and part of what we are trying to do is collaborate and connect with them, because peace is a great big topic,
Yeah,
and
it's ambitious.
yes, it is. And it's important to see it from a perspective not of tunnel vision, but
Right.
of everybody working on pieces of it. So that's what we've themed our Peace Party this year.
I don't know if, well,
I
maybe
can-
we'll try to hold this up. I don't know that Neil can zoom in on this yet, but maybe he can. Well, I'm going to take a look at it. So, Piece It Together, here we go. Piece It
Yeah.
Together is the name of the event. Give us some of the details.
Well, it's a dinner an organic dinner provided by Homestead Organics. And we have a silent auction and a live auction and a raffle. And our live auction is kind of exciting because it's our signature event is to auction off international dinners. So we have cooks that will provide a meal for 8, and then we auction it off per plate. So we have a Thai dinner by the lady that runs Big Thai Country, and we have an Indian cook and a Greek. Effie Cohn has been doing Greek dinner for us ever since the beginning. We have the Gay Men's Chorus does a dinner and song combo, and then we have some new ones this year that are kind of exciting. A Whole30 meal, which that's pretty popular.
Yeah.
And then another one that's off fair trade in honor of course, we have a fair trade
Right,
store. It's
right.
part of our social justice mission.
So all the ingredients.
That are going to be sourced fairly, locally and fairly.
Nice.
So we have a guy that's willing to take that challenge on and try that for Fair Trade Day in May, so we're excited about that.
Yeah, well, and probably you don't want him sourcing your meal in January. This sounds so great. So those are, that's a live auction.
Those are live auctions. Mhm.
And then there are other like items that are in a silent auction as
Yes,
well?
we have one of the largest silent auctions in Missoula, and
Wow.
in fact, the people from AZ that help us do the auction have said, kind of keep it down there to keep the numbers
Now,
down.
you're in an exciting location too. Is this been the home of the event in the past?
No, we did it
think
last
so.
year there,
Okay.
and it was so successful. People said it's a nice, intimate little event area, and we didn't have to worry about the weather, and the
Right.
parking was great, and the
Yeah.
folks at the fairgrounds were really wonderful to work
So
with.
it's in the Home Arts Building at the
Mm-hmm.
fairgrounds, which is, I mean, that's really perfect, I
Yeah.
think. It's a lovely space.
Yep.
I'm always in there at the fair because,
Yep.
watching
Nice
people
centrally
cook.
located.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, again, the dates are,
It's October 15th.
so it's coming up,
Starts
few
at
weeks.
3 in the afternoon, 3 to 7.
Oh, that's nice.
And we'll have the silent auction, we'll have some music by the Shenanigans,
Uh-huh.
one of our favorite groups, and also the Montana Women's Chorus is singing
Oh,
for
neat.
us. So they're always a favorite. People love those women and
Oh,
the
yeah.
songs that they
Yeah, they're very
they
popular.
provide for us.
So, all the information about the event is online, is
It
that right?
Just go to jrpc.org. There'll be a link to go right to the event page. You can register. You can see our agenda and all the things that are going on. And
Can you take a look at what the auction items are? I mean, does it describe? the
you know, I am going to put the auction items up there.
That's fun,
I
always.
haven't done that
I like to
quite
shop
yet.
in advance.
Yeah.
Get an idea, get a game plan.
Well, you know, we have a couple getaways that we're raffling off too.
Wow.
And lots of float trips and nights away, and
How big is the event? How many people usually?
about 350.
Huh? What?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And the ticket price is for a member of the Peace Center, an individual is $30, and that is dinner plus your drinks included and the entertainment. So it's still one of the most reasonable prices, I think,
Yeah.
for an event
For
of that type.
everything. So I've got here, if you're not a member, can you become a member of the Jeanette Rankin Peace Center,
Absolutely,
like,
yeah.
before you buy your ticket?
Yeah,
that would
we'd
be a
love
good
that.
idea.
Yeah.
It certainly would. If for some reason you're not, single tickets are $40, $60 for a couple. That's
Yep.
a screaming deal for dinner.
And we have a
everything
price for
else.
families, and then you can buy a table for 10.
Table. It'd be fun to go with a bunch of friends.
Yeah.
$300. You just divide it up, and the dinner is being cooked by Homestead Organics. Can you tell us about them? Do you know?
They are out of Corvallis, Laura
Oh.
Garber, and they're at the farmers market all the time, but
Okay.
they've been our caterer for, I don't know, several years.
Wow.
They do a wonderful job. It's all food from their garden. They have chickens, and they provide all of the local organic food. It's just been wonderful.
That's great.
I don't even look for another caterer if they're willing to
No,
do
you're
it,
lucky
so,
when you have a
yeah,
good one.
Yeah.
Joel, are you going to come join us?
And you know, I did want to say something about the theme, because
please do.
this, you know, working for peace is very challenging these days, and we've decided that when we look at it, that it's really not something that you can silo, and we really have to see it as something that involves all of us working together. So our theme is Piece It Together, so we can appreciate and talk about the importance of everybody working together, and not just all of us putting our talents together, all our members, but looking at the other organizations in town that we work closely with, or that are working on issues that are certainly tied to peace and nonviolence. So we've invited all the nonprofits in the community to come and be part of the Peace Party with us.
Oh.
So they're all going to be in T-shirts, so we have a little way for people to mingle and gather and get to know some of the other organizations that are doing good work in Missoula, because you know, it's really more true today than ever that we all are working on small pieces of a bigger issue, and
Right.
we have to figure out how we can work together. You know, peace, we'll have peace when the hungry are fed. The same is true about working for the environment or education or
Justice.
black lives or, you
Yeah.
know, LGBT
Some of the
rights.
civil discourse work that we've
Right.
done at Humanities Montana, we've
Yep.
partnered with you.
Yep.
We can go in T-shirts then.
You
I mean, should we wear like groovy new MCAT
You
T-shirts
can.
or?
Yeah?
Okay.
We're going to provide some space for people to have literature available,
Oh, great.
so people in the peace community can learn that our community is really wider and bigger, and
Right.
there's people doing wonderful, great things, and then we want to make it a starting place for actually working together with some of these groups on issues, so that it's not. We all get
Yes,
like in our
in our
own little
lane.
thing, and this is my
Yeah.
work, and I'm kind of tunnel visioned on it. But so important to stop and branch out and see how we can, instead of reinventing the wheel,
Right.
work together.
It's such a good idea, Betsy, because I do think even just all of us in nonprofit world, we're like, oh, she's in social services, I'm in culture,
Right.
that person's in social justice
Right.
issues, and we're all working for the same thing.
We are,
And
yeah.
so we should be partnering together as much as we can.
We sure should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, this is going to be a fun party.
Yes.
How many years is it that you've had this party?
31.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, isn't
That's
it? We're talking about the time goes by.
I
And you
know.
already mentioned it's at the Home Arts Building at the
Yep.
count,
I
I'm
know, that's
sure.
And
So
if you know, if
fun.
you can't make it, you don't have to be present to win raffle prizes. There's a float trip, and there's a $100 gift card to the Good Food Store,
Ooh.
$100 to Catalyst, and some other places. So
Yeah.
Cafe Dolce and some massages, and so it's
I think
Lots of
MCAT
ways
should
to
do
support it.
it.
Yes,
Just as you mentioned, because we're all about our soapbox and having people on shows like this and so on.
I think we
That,
definitely should.
We should definitely go as both business and pleasure.
I'll look forward to seeing
Right.
you both there.
Okay, good. That's
Okay.
good.
And
That's good.
it's a good older person's
I
time.
know, 3 to 7.
7.
That's
We're not gonna-
us.
We won't miss a bedtime, That's great.
So go to the website, jrpc.org.
Yeah.
Just think Jeanette Rankin Peace Center, jrpc.org.
And we had put it up.
Yes.
Good. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, and I wanted to
Pop
remind
into the-
people.
Pop into the store and the center.
Yeah, to do that. And
Yeah.
you'll have your Christmas store coming up in the
Yes.
season
Oh, yeah.
and so on.
Best Christmas ornaments in town.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's right across, the store is right across from the new Missoulian building. And it's right by that restaurant, Aza, what is that Japanese?
Iza.
Yeah,
Iza,
it's right by
Iza.
that restaurant.
Right.
Or the Italian ones on the
Or
corner.
it used to be right next
Right.
to Silk Road,
Right.
which is gone.
That's right.
There's something else working.
That's right.
Yeah, something's coming.
Change is good.
Yeah. Well, Betsy, anything you want to add?
Well, this may be kind of spoiler alert, but
What?
we hope to be able to raise the money to put the pieces of the peace sign back together again.
Wow.
The theme is Piece It Together. We're still
that's
trying to work
so
out some
great.
details with the folks that are keeping it and the places to put that, but that is one of our hopes at this
Wow.
event, so.
We were a small funder for that film.
That film was amazing.
Yeah, it was so
It's
good.
so good.
Thank you.
So
And
amazing.
so that would be super exciting.
I just got a call this afternoon from a guy in Indiana that had seen it on
Oh, is that
public
right?
television.
Wow.
It always makes me think of Dan. What a soul
know, I
Dan
know.
was. It gets
Yeah.
so sad.
Yeah.
You know,
to
one
think
of the
about.
dinners that we're auctioning, I did it last year, was an Irish supper table.
Oh,
And I invited Dan. It was going to be him and I at the supper table with other people. And of course, he wasn't there to come.
Yeah.
But, so we had a little tribute to him at the event. And I'm going to do it again as
Oh,
just
good.
in honor of Dan. So,
Nice.
no, that's
Yeah.
wonderful. Well, all right. I guess we should bid this subject farewell for now.
okay.
But I
Right.
think it is a wonderful
I will
idea.
see you there, and I will leave the poster here so
Good.
you can hang it
We'll
up.
put it
and-
up.
Yeah, we'll put it up by the door.
Yeah.
And then, dear viewer, it's time to introduce them to a new segment, and I'd like to do it at the Peace Center store. It's a new series I've started called Out and About.
Yeah.
And here's going to be the premiere And out and about, I think it's well and good and wonderful and generous that people come into this old garage of the old Missoula
Right.
building for 17 years now,
Yeah.
and that I've interviewed over 1,000 people
Have you?
in these precincts. Yep.
Amazing.
In the last 17 years. But I thought, well, to mix it up a little, I'll go out and
Yeah.
about. And so this is the first installment. I went to the Roxy Theater to interview
Oh,
Mike
yeah.
Steinberg
Yeah.
and get a tour, you see, of the place. So
Yeah.
that's my ambition, is to go to a number of places that have interesting interiors and talk with the people in the environment in which they work. So that's how we're going to fill
Rocky
out
is a great place to
our
start.
soft hour.
They've got such
Yeah.
a great history.
Oh,
and they're
didn't they have a
just,
weekend this
I know.
weekend?
Yeah,
Oh, goodness.
you
beautiful.
know, revitalized and
Mm-hmm.
renovated and
And so far, I've gone to Kia at the ZAC
Good.
and Josh Slotnick at the Peace Farm.
Nice.
And then this Thursday, we're going to the Moon Randolph homestead.
Oh.
And they're going to have their fall gathering soon.
Yes.
yes.
So we're going to walk around and see the orchard and all
Cool.
that stuff.
Yeah.
So, but I'd love to come to the Christmas store in its
Absolutely, and you know, I have a new store manager
time. Okay.
that started
Oh, I saw you were
last
looking.
week.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Good.
I
So
turned a
that'd be
number of
great.
people, I don't know if they followed through. There's so many young people need jobs. I'm like,
Yeah,
they're like, what? So I'm sure you got someone
yeah,
wonderful.
we did, so
Okay.
I'm looking forward to working with her.
Excellent.
Oh, good. I can't wait to see this.
So I guess Kim will say our farewells to the viewing audience, because they're going to
I
see
do.
this Roxy piece.
Yeah.
And I'm going to
um,
go home and cook dinner.
Yeah, you got a lot to do. There's a wedding coming up in Kim's family, so she's got lots to do. But if you, dear viewer, know of a group you'd like to see on this program, or if you would like me to come visit a nonprofit you know about, give us a call at MCAT. The number is 542-6228, or you can email mcat@mcat.org. So we'll see you next time, and thanks for watching.
Thanks.
Years and years would come back as special re-releases, and like Disney films, for example, were on cycle for every 5 years or every 7 years they come back to the theater before there was cable TV or, you know. The Roxy remained a second-run theater up until the 70s, and then they started to play films that were first-run. There was competition on screen in town, so they couldn't get everything they wanted. And they actually converted in the mid-70s to a dollar theater, which was a trend for movie theaters. So you could either sell it for the real estate value or try to churn out popcorn money and basically get old titles, which would be late second run or tertiary run, third run, and play them for $1. Someone we met in this process of our renovation, because we've gotten a lot of people talking about the theater as a result. Someone we met had seen the early show. Yeah. They were like, I was there, and then later on the day it was on fire. Like, what? It blew the doors across Higgins Avenue. So the theater sat for a few years. There was a little bit of a challenge to, to bring it back. It was the people who owned the theater at the time, and I don't have that readily available, but they were sort of fighting for keeping the theater here, and then there was an attempt to blight the land, and that was done by a neighboring business that wanted it as parking. So they made a big stink, and thankfully, Missoula came to the rescue of the Roxy in 1994, or 95 or so. And then it was rebuilt and reopened in 1997 as a triplex, exactly. And it opened as a dollar show as well. I think it was a $2 show, but it was, again, a discount theater. At that point, there were about 20 screens in Missoula. And I'm sorry, 22 if you count, or 21 if you count the Crystal. So those were all in effect, and they were all first-run theaters. So there wasn't a lot of access to movies for the Roxy owners. So it didn't fare well. It only stayed open a couple of years. And then the International Wildlife Film Festival bought the building in 2000, and as a site for the festival annually, and officed their festival upstairs. About a dozen years, 11 or 12 years of owning the theater, not a lot happened. There was an occasional public screening. Opera went on for about 5 years, I think. Partnership with Morris Productions. Andy Morris runs that organization, and he's been running it now for 10 years or so. But what it is a contract with the National Theatre Live and the Met Opera. And the programming is extraordinary. It's simulcast from the UK for the National Theatre productions, and from New York for the Met Opera. And it's pretty much the top of the world in terms of opera and theater production. It's extraordinary to have that here in Missoula, Montana. I mean, you might be reading about this in, New York Times, or, if you read The Guardian or whatever, you can hear that these things are happening in the world. You actually see them and experience them. And you're also only paying $12. We have a great comedy community in Missoula. There's a very vivacious and regular crowd that attends. So once a month on a Wednesday night, we have homegrown comedy, and it's a rotating group of comics. There's some open mic in there too, but there's some headliners and some people who are doing it, on a regular basis, who may or may not call themselves pro, but they're pro. They're funny people. So we host that. We also do something called Movie Mockers, which is kind of in the vein of Mystery Science Theater. So we'll show a bad movie and have 3 or 4 comics up on a couch with live mics talking over the movie and just trashing it, just making fun of it. I personally love comedy, and we're lucky to have a couple big advocates of the comedy scene. John Howard, who runs those homegrown comedies, has, within the last few months, 5 months or so, been hired on as a manager here. He was just kind of showed up every month to do comedy, and they were like, let's hire John. Aaron Roos also, once upon a time, big part of the Missoula improv comedy scene. Yeah. He was in the Shop, if you remember that gang back in the day. Yeah. So comedy is it's a nice component to have here. And like I said, they pack the place with their regular crowd, and the community floats around town. I mean, there's a few venues that they play regularly, and we're really proud to be one of them. So again, the theater was built in 1937, and after some attempt at restoration, the original sign was taken down before the fire, by the way. It had been replaced, and it's this flat, it's kind of greenish. It had been kind of, defiled of its original Art Deco glory, and when they rebuilt, they brought it back the same way. That's what insurance money allowed them to do. And at some point in the early 2000s, they put in a wedge marquee, which was more practical. So anyway, they brought that in, which was functional, but it wasn't aesthetically in line with the theater. The facade remained. That was the only thing that they were able to keep. The entire theater was gutted, and the doors were needed replacing, of course. So it's part of bringing me on as the executive director. There's a Wildlife Film Festival that owned this building, and so people thought of this building as just where the Wildlife Film Fest was. And the programming that we started began to develop an audience, but it wasn't necessarily connected to the IWFF, and so there were some questions of like, what are we? Some identity questions. Our organization, at that point, about 39 years old, 38 years old, had never done a strategic plan. And so we met as an organization and we did interviews with stakeholders in the community and got a lot of feedback. And one of the things that came out of the assessment and the planning was that we own this historic building and we should be stewarding it, you know? So the idea came about to give it a restoration. We met with a designer. In fact, the Hollywood Theater had undergone a big restoration and replaced their original marquee. We got in touch with that designer, this really wonderful man named Fernando Duarte, who specializes in deco and specifically in movie theaters. So we brought him out, did a bunch of research, found all these historic photos. Fernando's the kind of guy who, you know, his choice of neon and paint color is dictated by what was available in that era. That's how, you know, detail-oriented he is. So we had this extraordinary marquee fabricated in Sacramento at the sign company where he does most of his work. He supervised the project. Shipped to Missoula. Funny story was, I got a text. We heard it was arriving. We knew they were going to do the install the next day. Yeah. I got a text from somebody who was like, "Hey, look!" They were driving down the road and they saw the Roxy marquee on the back of a truck, and I was like, "Why didn't they tarp that thing?" But oh well, it made it. So yeah, so that's what led to that restoration, and we call it Redeco. Is our project, and our Give campaign is Give 37. So we're asking everyone in the community who believes in the Roxy, wants the Roxy, to give $37 in honor of the 1937. The day the Roxy opened was September 24th, 1937. On Friday the 22nd, we've got a double feature. The first film that I ever played at the Roxy was called Arizona Days. It's Tex Ritter, a singing cowboy western. So we're doubling that with A Day at the Races, also from 37, the Marx Brothers. Yeah. And we're going to do newsreels and cartoons and trailers from that year. And it's a double feature, and you're going to pay what you paid in 1937.
Which was?
A quarter.
Oh.
Saturday and Sunday, two more things. The Senior Center parking lot, we've got 2 outdoor screenings. We've got Pee-wee's Big Adventure is a bike in. So ride your bike in. The Scurfs are going to play before the show. And then as a surf rock band, they're really great. Oh, the other thing on that day on Sunday, the River City Swing Band is going to play before the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, also from 37. Probably played the Roxy, and then we light the marquee for the first time that night. The marquee, I should say, is authentic neon, like historic neon, not even modern neon, and definitely not LED. So it's going to be pretty cool.